So what we're going to learn today is how I can fire off a sample just by pressing one key, and that will keep going until I stop it. I've got a drum sample in there, and likewise that will keep going. That's an audio sample, and then I can fire them both off. And then I can stop them. So do that, and it gives me So how do we do that? Let me show you. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to my disc menu. I have two samples in here. I have this bass one, and I have a drum kit. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load my bass here. So let's load this, and there it is, 122 beats, and I'm going to load my drum kit there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into my sampling mode, and in my sampling mode I'm going to create a new multi-sample. So from here it's already given me one to start with, and I'm going to give that a new name. So let's rename that, and let's call this our RPPR. Okay, so done that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign those two samples we just loaded into our multi-sample. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my B minor one there and say OK to that, and let's put it on C2. So if I play C2, it plays that. I go create, and now I'm going to assign my next sample. Here I'm going to select my kit, and I'm going to put that onto C sharp there and create. Okay, so now on my C I've got my bass sample, and on my C sharp I have my drum. Now that I know that both of those are looping, I'm now going to convert that to a program, convert multi-sample to program, and I'm going to store that on, let's put it here on G15, say OK to that, and it's giving the program the name RPPR, and we're going to save that in program 15. OK, if I now go to G15, there is my RPPR program, and on the C I've got my bass loop, and on my C sharp I've got my drum loop. At the moment, when I let go of these keys, the sample stops when I let go, and what we want to do is get those to latch. So I now go into sequencer mode, and I'm selecting my first empty song. And then what I want to do is I want to create these RPPR patterns for those two samples. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my RPPR down here. I'm making sure that my tempo is 122 beats a minute, so it matches the sample tempo. I'm now going to define that I want my RPPR pattern to last for 2 measures. So to do that, I go to pattern edit, I go pattern parameter, and I change my length here to 2 measures. Say OK to that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into record, and I'm going to hold down that C2 note for 2 measures and let that whole bass pattern play. So I'm going to go to record, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm just going to hold down the C for 2 bars. And you'll see now I'll take my finger off and it keeps going. Okay, so that's my first user pattern done. I'm now going to do my drum beat, so we're going to do that again. We're going to go to pattern 1 here, and again I'm going to tell it that I want my pattern 1 to last for 2 measures, so I change my length here to 2 measures. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm now going to go into record, and this time I'm going to hold down the C sharp for 2 measures. So when we go to record, so there is my pattern. Okay, I can now go into pattern name here, and my first pattern was my bass, so let's put my bass in there. Say OK to that. So that was in pattern 0, and in pattern 1 there I've got my drum beat, so let's call that drum and say OK to that. So we've named our patterns. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now is assign those patterns to the keys that are going to be used within the RPPR setup. So to do that, I go to RPPR setup. The first one I'm going to assign is my C sharp 2. I'm going to assign it with that bass loop. It's going to MIDI track 1 because MIDI track 1 in my combi is where I have that program set up, the multi-sample program. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell it that I want that to be endless. So when I press the C sharp, I will get the bass when I press the button C sharp once, and that will keep on and on until I press the C sharp again, and then it will stop. Likewise, I'm going to assign the D, and the D I'm going to use my drum beat for. And that's also going to MIDI track 1 because it's a multi-sample, and I'm going to make that endless as well. So now I've got my C sharp and my D sharp both assigned. I can come back to my sequencer and make sure that when I press C sharp, I get that. And now I can play both of those together. Okay, so on my second slot here now, I might want an organ sound. So let's go to organ, let's go to electric organ, and I'm sure I've got the M1 organ, that's a good one. So now I've got that there, and I can play that along with the... And that's basically it. So what I can do now is I fire off my bass loop, fire off the drum loop,